Our overall farm philosophy was guided a lot by my dad, who was an agricultural anthropologist. And his idea was that wouldn't it be great if there was a way that we could farm that was a little closer in harmony with nature. My name is Daniella Adams. My husband James and I have Grove Creek Farm in Oglethorpe County, Georgia. We have about 300 acres. We run a cow-calf operation, and 70 of those acres are silvopasture that we established starting back in 2009. Our overarching goal was to keep the farm in our family. That was really our biggest driving force to a lot of the decisions that we made. And my husband James and I were trained in horticulture at the University of Georgia, and we knew that once you lose your soil structure, it's really hard to get it back. And so what we wanted to do in our decisions was to make sure that we kept the land covered and that we respected and developed the soil as much as possible, that being a key factor to a profitable farm. We first heard about silvopasture actually through my dad. He came to us one day it was a magazine clipping, and he had written notes all over it, and it said silvopasture, and I can't remember what it was, but it basically was his inspiration. He said, I think we can do this at the farm. So that was the first place we heard about the concept, but it later became a reality when we started working with NRCS and the EQIP Environmental Quality Incentives Program through the USDA, and they were very supportive of that, and so that's how it actually came into reality. We did not plant trees. We started with an existing stand of 15 to 25, somewhere in there, year-old volunteer pine trees. And so the steps for us, chronologically, were we stepped into the woods and we thought, we're crazy. And then we looked around and we said, okay, there's got to be a way to do this. Even though it felt like a daunting, big change, you start with deciding your basal area. You start with deciding how much grass, and do you want just to expect a little bit of grass? You're not going to thin as much. Do you want more grass? You're going to thin more. So it starts with the harvest, and that starts with the logger. And after that, when we were left with stumps, basically the tree debris and the stumps decompose. And while that took a long time, we did hurry on with some use of mulching, forestry mulchers. We learned to operate that equipment ourselves. Once the stumps were rotted, we came in and we looked at soil fertility and we looked at establishing grass. And after that point is when we came in with the livestock. There is a tremendous aesthetic value to seeing your livestock walking through the trees and the shade and seeing the trees grow with the grass. I don't know why, but for me it brings a sense of harmony and a sense of wholeness in the system. Once the trees are gone and that system is opened up, it changes it tremendously. I do know we worked with the NRCS, and our grassland specialist talked about the water holding capacity. He talked about the nutrient mining that's going on under the soils. When I'm in the silvopasture as compared to out in one of our open fields, it feels much more biodiverse. I hear birds, I hear more insects, I hear just more diversity in general. And that goes back to when I realized that I can't compare my stocking rate and my stocking density within my silvopasture to my open pastures, because we also have benefits in here that are not existent in our open pastures as well. Make sure that you have a relationship with someone, maybe a forestry consultant, when you're first starting out who has experience with silvopasture, because they can really guide you in that process. Just do your research and work with someone who's done it before. And also your choice of livestock. That is a big choice so that you can be successful. And so whether you're choosing your system around your livestock or you're choosing your livestock for your system, think about how that's going to work with silvopasture in mind.